A billionaire witnesses a waitress taking care of his disabled son, unable to remain still, and makes a decision that will change her life forever. You won't be able to take your eyes off the surprises that are about to unfold. The black waitress has spent many years working hard at a small diner, barely making ends meet, but her kindness always surpasses her exhaustion. On a rainy night, she sees a frail boy sitting on an old wheelchair, shivering in the rain. The boy has no one by his side, and when Serena sees him, she doesn't hesitate for a second. She opens the diner door, steps outside, and brings him in. She gives him a meal and makes him feel safe. Across the street, a shiny black Bentley is parked silently in the dark. Inside, a man quietly observes their every move. The man is the boy's father, and her simple act of kindness will open doors she never dared to dream of. The rain keeps pounding on the sidewalk of Lexington Avenue, turning the cracked street into a slippery mess, while the dim streetlights cast weak glows, highlighting the old buildings on either side. Serena's diner is close to closing time, but she's not the type to refuse helping someone, especially when they need it, especially when the world has turned its back on them. After a 12-hour shift, her brown skin soaked in sweat, she stands behind the counter, exhausted but still kind. As she looks out the window, the neon lights from the diner's sign illuminate the scene outside. A lonely boy, hunched over on the old wheelchair, his black hair matted to his forehead, a torn coat that can't protect him from the cold. Serena frowns and steps outside into the cold wind. She gently calls, "Hey, sweetie, what are you doing here alone?" The boy looks up, his wide blue eyes filled with suspicion, searching for help. He weakly replies, "I'm waiting for my dad." Serena looks around, seeing no one. The neon lights blink across the street, and the sound of rain and cars screeching on the wet asphalt fills the air. "Where is he?" she asks, her voice tinged with concern. The boy shrugs, pulling the blanket tighter around himself. Serena sighs, biting her lip. She's seen too many children abandoned like this, waiting for someone who never shows up. "You can't stay here," she says. "Come inside with me. It's really cold, and I have something special for you." The boy hesitates for a moment, then nods. Serena gently grasps the handle of the wheelchair and pushes him inside the diner. As soon as they step in, the warmth hits their faces. The smell of toasted bread, butter, and coffee mingles in the air like a warm blanket. Serena leads him to a corner near the radiator, draping a clean towel over his shoulders. She crouches down, looks him in the eyes, and smiles gently. "I'm Serena. What's your name?" The boy takes a deep breath, his trembling hands clutching the blanket. "Daniel," he replies. Serena smiles. "Nice name." "Are you hungry?" The boy nods uncertainly. Serena doesn't wait for him to say more. She rushes to the kitchen, grabs a fresh loaf of bread, slices some bacon and cheese, and adds a steaming bowl of tomato soup. Just a few minutes later, she returns and places the hot meal in front of him. "This is what I make when the night is long and the world feels too cruel." The boy blows gently on the sandwich, his eyes wide in surprise as he takes the first bite, the cheese stretching into chewy strands. "This is the best thing I've ever eaten," he whispers, his voice full of amazement. Serena smiles softly, watching him devour each bite. In her heart, a feeling of sorrow rises as she watches a child carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. Since Serena brought Daniel into the diner and gave him a warm meal, she unknowingly stepped into the life of Raymond Holt, a man who lived in a world of power and logic. Raymond Holt, CEO of Holt Dynamics, is a name that cannot be missing from the global business world. With his immense wealth and vast empire, he is not only known for his success, but also for the exceptional qualities he brings to his work. Cold, ruthless, and with the ability to control everything with absolute precision, he has built the image of a powerful man, not easily swayed by any outside influence. To reach the position he holds today, Raymond has paid a great price, particularly emotionally. Holt Dynamics, under his leadership, has become one of the leading companies in the world, where every decision is made with absolute accuracy. There is no room for mistakes or emotions in the strategies he creates. Each step Raymond takes is meticulously calculated, like a grand chess game where he always controls the moves. He doesn't allow himself to make mistakes and doesn't let emotions interfere with his work. And above all, Raymond has built an invisible shell around himself, cold, strong, and determined. However, beneath this cold exterior, Raymond Holt also has hidden corners that few know about. There's one thing he cannot control, and that is his son, Daniel. This young man, though the son of a billionaire, is not like other children. Daniel was born with physical defects, a nightmare that cannot be explained to a man like Raymond. For him, caring for his son is not an easy task, as it touches on emotions Raymond always tries to suppress. And then, on an ordinary day, when work suddenly calls, Raymond decides to leave his son alone at a small diner while he handles an urgent call with investors. It seems like a simple decision, but it holds many implications. His son, Daniel, is a significant burden in Raymond's life. To give Daniel some space to be independent, he leaves him alone at the diner, but something unexpected happens. While Raymond is busy with his call, he has no idea that someone else is watching his son. A simple waitress, nothing special other than her attentive care and kindness, has taken an interest in Daniel. She, Serena, is a woman with no wealth, no status, but with a heart full of compassion. Her kindness comes with no conditions. Serena doesn't expect any recognition from anyone. She simply does good because she believes it is the right thing to do. She treats Daniel with a sincerity that many in this society have forgotten. Just a brief moment, but it gives Daniel a feeling he has never received from his father. Being cared for, loved, and looked after with no reason other than for who he is. When Raymond returns to the diner after finishing his call, he has no idea about the conversation between Serena and Daniel, but his look from the black Bentley, observing from a distance, reflects a feeling of surprise and discomfort. He cannot understand why someone like Serena would treat his son with such kindness and compassion, while he, the father, cannot dedicate time and affection to his son. Raymond always believed he was doing the best for Daniel by creating a stable material world. But what he didn't realize was that the boy needed more than that. Daniel needed love, care, and warm moments, things Raymond, in all his coldness, had never been able to provide. At that moment, when Raymond saw Serena's actions, a strange feeling arose in him. He realized that while he had been trying to build a solid world for his son, the most important things couldn't be bought with money. Serena, this woman, had nothing but sincerity and kindness. But she had something he didn't, an ability to love unconditionally. Raymond Holt, a man who once saw emotions as a weakness in business, now felt like a man lacking something very important in life. This made him question, had he been too focused on material success and overlooked the true values in life? From that moment on, Raymond was no longer the cold, ruthless man he once was. He began to change, little by little, in his perception of his son and the world around him. Serena, a simple waitress, had opened a new door for him, a door leading to an understanding of compassion and genuine care. Although he never said it, the change in Raymond's heart was a significant one, a turning point in the life of this powerful man. When Raymond walked into the diner, all eyes were on him. Cold and powerful, he entered like a man carrying both determination and decisiveness. His luxurious suit and serious expression made him seem unapproachable, but his gaze was directed straight at Serena, making her stop what she was doing. She didn't feel fear or nervousness. On the contrary, Serena stood there with a confidence and calmness that people like Raymond, in positions of power, rarely encounter. He approached her, stood silently for a moment, then spoke. "Serena," he began, his voice low yet strong. "I don't believe in charity. I believe in paying back what has been received. You helped my son without expecting anything, simply out of kindness, and I think it's time for me to repay that." Raymond was not the type to often make offers like this. His proposition wasn't out of pity. It was an invitation because of the kind acts Serena had shown. He didn't view what she did as mere charity. It was a debt he felt compelled to repay. With a cold gesture, Raymond pulled a thick envelope from his pocket and handed it to Serena. "I invite you to join Holt Dynamics," he said, looking her in the eyes. "My company, a billion-dollar company with six-figure benefits. This is an opportunity, not charity." Serena looked at the envelope in her hand, a mix of unfamiliarity and surprise rising within her. A man like Raymond, known for his power and coldness, was inviting her to join his company? She couldn't believe what she was hearing. As a waitress, she was used to long, hard hours and endless struggles. Yet this invitation was so sudden and unexpected. Doubt began to creep into Serena's mind. She didn't want to be a pawn in Raymond's game. She didn't want to be bought with things she didn't need, but at the same time, she couldn't deny that this was an opportunity that could change her life. "You don't have to do this," Serena replied, her gaze cautious. "I do what I do because it's the right thing, not because I expect anything in return." Raymond looked at her, showing no sign of anger or disappointment. He simply nodded, as if he fully understood her thoughts. "I understand, but this is an opportunity I don't want you to miss. Think about it." Serena didn't answer immediately. She held the envelope in her hand, staring at it, thinking about Raymond's offer. She had had enough life experiences to understand that not everything in life was coincidental. Could she refuse this opportunity, or would she let her kindness lead her to a turning point in her life? Raymond said no more. He stood up, walked towards the door of the diner, but before leaving, he stopped and turned back to look at Serena. "I'll wait for your answer," he said briefly before leaving. Serena stood there, holding the envelope in her hand, her mind filled with complex thoughts and emotions. Was this opportunity truly a path leading to a brighter future, or just a sweet trap she couldn't escape? She decided to think about Raymond's offer, but she couldn't stop thinking about this meeting, the meeting that might change her life forever. After deciding to join Holt Dynamics, Serena stepped into a world completely different from the life she had known. She went from being a simple waitress in a small diner to becoming part of one of the most powerful companies in the world. Everything here was unfamiliar to her. Skyscrapers, expensive suits, intense meetings, and people with wealth and power. This world belonged to those with money and influence. But for Serena, everything was just one constant challenge. On her first day at Holt Dynamics, Serena felt small and out of place. Even though she was invited with the promise of a bright future, she couldn't deny the tension that surrounded her. The curious and skeptical glances from her colleagues made her feel uncomfortable. She had to keep reminding herself that this was her one chance to change her destiny. But could she fit into a world so different from everything she had experienced? From the moment she entered the company, a woman didn't hide her doubts and challenges towards Serena. Nora, Raymond's assistant, was the first to evaluate Serena critically. Nora was a sharp, confident woman who always seemed unshakable. She had worked with Raymond for many years, understanding the values the company required, and wasn't easily accepting of newcomers like Serena. Nora looked at Serena with suspicion. She didn't believe someone with Serena's background could contribute anything significant to Holt Dynamics. She was cautious and didn't hide her displeasure at seeing Serena in the company. "Can you do this?" Nora asked when she first met Serena. The question was not only a challenge, but also an implicit warning. To Nora, Serena was an outsider, not belonging in this place. Despite that, Serena didn't let Nora's challenge discourage her. She knew this was her one opportunity to prove herself, and she couldn't afford to waste it. From the moment she started working, Serena noticed that everything here was different from what she had been used to. Every meeting, every decision was full of tension and pressure. She had to learn quickly, make no mistakes, and always show her competence before those who were not easily convinced. Serena's first task was to participate in an important meeting about market expansion strategy. She had to present plans for potential projects Holt Dynamics could invest in. The people attending the meeting were top industry experts, those who had proven their talent and influence. Serena felt like she was facing a huge challenge, but she didn't let her anxiety take over. When it was her turn to present, Serena stepped up with newfound confidence. She had prepared thoroughly and didn't let the judging gazes of the people in the room make her falter. She presented clearly and sharply, highlighting the opportunities and risks that the projects entailed. Although her presence didn't immediately create an impression, little by little, she began to gain the attention of her colleagues, especially Raymond. He watched her intently, saying nothing, but in his eyes, there was evaluation and a hint of expectation. Serena not only faced challenges from her work, but also had to deal with colleagues who weren't very supportive. However, she didn't let these things affect her spirit. She understood that this was a long road, and only constant effort would prove that she belonged here. Although everything was new and difficult, Serena was beginning to find her place in a world she had only known through a screen. Day by day, Serena began to establish her capabilities. Although life at Holt Dynamics was cold and pressured, she started to earn the trust of those around her. And even though Nora continued to challenge her, Serena persisted and gradually became an indispensable part of the company's development. One of the biggest challenges Serena faced at Holt Dynamics was a tense meeting with Philip Langford, the CEO of a major wealthy partner company. Langford considered himself the man in charge, with an arrogant attitude and excessive confidence. He was a powerful man, always believing his decisions were indisputable and unchallengeable. In that meeting, Holt Dynamics was considering moving production overseas to reduce costs. Langford had been the one to propose this idea, arguing that shifting the factory abroad would reduce production costs and increase profits. However, Serena, though still new to the environment, felt uneasy about this decision. She saw potential risks not only for the company, but also for the workers who depended on it. As Langford began presenting, Serena immediately noticed the disrespect he showed her. Langford looked at her as if she were insignificant, just a woman new to the company, not worth listening to or considering. He didn't hide his disdain as she walked into the meeting room, and that attitude only strengthened Serena's resolve. She knew that if she wanted to establish herself at Holt Dynamics, she couldn't allow herself to be underestimated. This was her opportunity to prove her worth. Without hesitation, Serena spoke up as Langford finished his presentation. She remained calm but sharp as she made her persuasive arguments. She carefully analyzed the negative consequences of moving production overseas, not just in terms of cost, but also the cultural factors, the relationship with the workers, and Holt Dynamics' reputation. Serena explained that this move would harm the long-standing relationships with employees who had been loyal to the company for years. She pointed out that if the company lost the trust of these loyal workers, it would be a severe blow to Holt Dynamics' reputation, something that no amount of savings could compensate for. She also emphasized that keeping production domestic would create sustainable growth opportunities for the community, helping the company build an image as a socially responsible business, while earning the trust of customers and partners. Serena not only provided strategic reasons, but also embedded her core values, respect for people, and a sustainable working environment. Throughout the debate, Langford grew increasingly frustrated. He was used to having people agree with his suggestions without challenge, but Serena had made him reconsider. However, he kept his resolute face and refused to admit he could be wrong. Raymond, who had remained silent throughout the meeting, did not intervene in the confrontation between Serena and Langford. He watched closely, giving away no expression. For Raymond, this was not just a regular meeting. It was a test of Serena's ability to stand firm in such a high-pressure environment. Finally, after Serena concluded her speech, Langford had no counter-arguments left. He was forced to remain silent, and the meeting ended with Holt Dynamics deciding to keep production domestically. Though Langford didn't express agreement, he no longer held the confidence he once had. At that moment, Raymond spoke, breaking the silence in the room. He looked at Serena with a sharp gaze, said little, but simply declared, "That's why I hired you." Raymond's words were an undeniable declaration. Not only was it a compliment for Serena, but it also affirmed the right decision he had made in inviting her to join the company. Serena had not only proven her value, but had also demonstrated that she understood the importance of ethics in business, something Raymond had always valued but struggled to find in others. Without saying more, Raymond clarified everything. Serena had proven herself deserving of this opportunity, and he trusted her abilities to change Holt Dynamics in a way that no one else could. One Monday morning, the atmosphere at Holt Dynamics grew heavy. A significant financial data leak from the company had been discovered, prompting the entire management team and high-level executives to take immediate action. An email had been sent from the company's internal system containing sensitive financial information that only a select few had access to. The security systems immediately showed signs that this was not an accident, but rather an intentional leak. A sense of tension permeated the company as all eyes turned to one person, Serena Carter. Emails showed that she was the only one with access to these documents, and the system log confirmed that the files had been opened and sent from her IP address. These facts were undeniable, and within hours, suspicion began to spread through the company. Serena, once one of Holt Dynamics' most promising employees, had suddenly become the target of an intense investigation. Serena didn't understand what was happening. She had always worked with dedication and honesty. People began to look at her with suspicion. Whispers echoed behind her back. She felt as though she were being cornered, unable to escape. Could this be a misunderstanding? Or had she truly been caught in a scheme she knew nothing about? The anxiety and confusion overwhelmed Serena. Nora, Raymond's assistant, was the first to inform Serena about the data leak. She met Serena in her small office, her eyes filled with concern. "Serena, I don't know how to say this, but there's been a financial email leaked," Nora said, her voice sounding worried. "And all the traces point to you." Serena listened, feeling as though the ground beneath her feet was crumbling. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. She hadn't done anything wrong. She tried to recall everything she had done over the past days, but everything seemed hazy in her mind. "Why me? Why me?" Serena wondered inwardly. Nora looked at Serena, helplessness evident on her face. "I know, Serena, I understand, but all the evidence points to you. I'm afraid someone is trying to set you up." Serena couldn't ignore Nora's words. She realized she couldn't solve this on her own, and she needed help to clear her name. However, she didn't know where to start or who could help her. Raymond, though also affected by the rumors and suspicion, was not one to jump to conclusions without evidence. Despite the impact this had on the company, Raymond decided not to rush into making any judgments. He knew that without a thorough investigation, nothing could prove the truth. So, he decided to oversee the investigation, protect Serena, and try to find out who was really behind this incident. "We won't rush to conclusions until we have all the information," Raymond said, his voice low and serious. "I can't tolerate any mistakes, and I won't let someone unworthy sabotage this company." Although Raymond didn't show any sign of worry, inside, he felt an unusual tension. He wanted to believe Serena was innocent, but he couldn't deny that all the evidence led to her. He couldn't let things spiral into chaos without uncovering the truth. The investigation began immediately, and Serena, along with Nora, started working to find evidence to clear her name. The three of them, under Raymond's supervision, began examining the email systems, checking transactions, and working with the company's security team to uncover the perpetrator. Sleepless nights, intense meetings, and hazy clues turned the investigation into a psychological battle full of challenges. Serena knew this was a fight she couldn't afford to lose. She couldn't let everything slip away, couldn't let her career and reputation be destroyed by a misunderstanding or a conspiracy. As the investigation seemed to be going nowhere, Serena began finding suspicious leads. The evidence not only indicated that the leak might not have been caused by her, but also suggested that someone in the company had intentionally manipulated the data and used her as a pawn in a power game. She couldn't shake the feeling that someone was playing a dangerous game. And that person might be hiding behind the scenes, cleverly creating fake evidence. Finally, after many sleepless nights and persistent investigation, Serena and Nora discovered that Eric Calloway, one of the company's senior directors, who had close ties with some external partners, was the one behind the leak. He had used Serena as a weapon in his scheme to profit for himself and had tried to manipulate the company's financial data. Raymond immediately called an emergency meeting with the entire board of directors. While everyone might have guessed who was responsible, no one expected the anger Raymond would show. He wouldn't let the situation stop at mere criticism. He decided to act immediately. When Eric entered the meeting room, his face was as cold as usual, showing no signs of worry. But as soon as he heard Raymond declare, "Eric Calloway, I regret to inform you that you will no longer be part of Holt Dynamics. I've waited too long for the truth, and now it's time to act." All eyes in the room turned to Eric. A brief moment of surprise flashed across his face, but it quickly disappeared, replaced by a mocking smile. Eric didn't try to deny it, didn't make excuses. He knew the evidence was too clear to escape punishment. However, his arrogance made everyone feel that he had no remorse for his actions. Raymond didn't stop there. He continued, "We never tolerate those who exploit this company. Eric, you didn't just betray our trust, but you also harmed honest people like Serena. This is your final move at Holt Dynamics." When Eric realized there was no chance left to reverse the situation, he was escorted out of the meeting room without a word of farewell. This time, the purge wasn't just a punishment. It was a clear message to all employees in the company. Those who were greedy and unethical would have no place at Holt Dynamics. Raymond turned back to Serena and Nora, his gaze now filled with acknowledgement. Although he said nothing further, his actions spoke volumes. Serena had helped him uncover the traitor and protect the company from a major threat. She not only kept her integrity, but also proved she wasn't just an important part of Holt Dynamics, but also a trustworthy, irreplaceable person. Serena felt a cool breeze pass through, as if a heavy weight had been lifted off her shoulders. She had overcome the biggest challenge of her life, not just for herself, but for the company she had devoted herself to. And now, she knew she was no longer the old waitress from her past. She was a part of Holt Dynamics, a winner in the fight for justice. Raymond turned to look at her, this time not with a cold gaze, but with one full of recognition and respect. He smiled gently. "You did very well." Serena, after facing numerous challenges and hardships, Serena had finally risen and proven her abilities. The data leak and subsequent investigation not only cleared her name but also provided an opportunity to solidify her position and talents within Holt Dynamics. Previously, she was just a humble waitress with an inspiring story of kindness and perseverance. But now, Serena was no longer the girl who worked tirelessly in a small diner. She had become a strong, talented, and respected woman, admired by everyone in the company. Her transformation wasn't just the result of handling the leak. It was also due to her clear contributions to Holt Dynamics. She had shown that she was not only a part of the company, but also a vital element in the company's long-term and sustainable growth. With her strategic initiatives and leadership skills, Serena quickly climbed the ranks, becoming one of the top leaders in the company. The community project Serena founded marked a significant milestone in her career and life. Aware of the struggles faced by impoverished youth, Serena decided to establish a support center for young people facing difficulties. The center not only offered skill-building workshops and vocational training, but also created employment opportunities for those lacking opportunities in society. Serena understood that only when young people were financially and mentally stable could they change their lives and become valuable contributors to society. Serena's focus wasn't just on her personal career, it was also on creating opportunities for others. She didn't want to stand alone at the top of success. She wanted to uplift and help those in need. Her project attracted attention from many people, especially organizations and businesses that recognize the importance of supporting the community and developing a workforce with ethical values. With her strategic mindset and decisiveness, Serena helped Holt Dynamics create initiatives that developed an ethically sound workforce, committed not just to profits, but also to protecting the rights of workers, building good relationships with minority-owned organizations, and supporting socially responsible businesses. These decisions propelled Holt Dynamics to not only financial success, but also to becoming a company with a strong reputation in the community. The changes Serena brought to the company didn't just help it move forward, but also changed the way Holt Dynamics viewed itself. She demonstrated that a company could achieve sustainable success not only through profitability, but also through its treatment of employees, the community, and the environment. Serena had become a role model for visionary leadership, responsibility, and the ability to change the world around her. For Serena, her career was not just about achieving personal accomplishments, but about creating long-lasting value for the company and the community. She had transformed Holt Dynamics into a company that was not only financially successful, but also a symbol of corporate responsibility and ethical business practices. Belief in human values, in the good things, even the smallest acts, was the driving force that continued to push her forward. Serena understood that in life and career, nothing was more important than holding firm to belief in oneself and in true values. Small actions that seemed insignificant could change someone else's life, and those very actions had also changed hers. The story of Serena Carter is not only about a woman overcoming hardship to change her destiny, but also about the power of kindness and dedication. She had transformed her own life, and more importantly, she had created positive change for those around her, for the company, and for the community. Her journey was far from over, and there was still much to be done. But Serena knew that with perseverance and love, she could continue to change the world in her own way. Never underestimate the power of kindness and dedication. The story of Serena Carter delivers a powerful and touching message that no matter where you are, what profession you have, or what circumstances you live in, kindness and goodness always have the power to change the world around you. Sometimes, a small act, like giving a warm meal to a child, can open doors, not only for others, but also for yourself. It could be the beginning of a great journey, an unexpected turning point in life. Small acts, which may seem insignificant, can have a lasting impact. So, never feel that you need to do something grand to be recognized. Goodness and righteousness often start with sincere, simple, and compassionate actions. You may not immediately see the results, but trust that one day the seeds you plant will bloom, bringing unexpected and positive outcomes. Thank you for following the story of Serena Carter and her incredible journey. We hope this story has inspired you and reminded us all that anyone can change their own life, as long as we dare to believe in ourselves and always maintain kindness in all circumstances. Serena's story is a testament to the power of perseverance, kindness, and dedication, and we hope it will motivate you in your life to believe that every effort, no matter how small, can make a big difference. If you love this story, don't forget to hit like to support us, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next meaningful stories, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinions on this story. What do you think about kindness and the power of dedication in life? Was there something in this story that touched your heart? We truly appreciate every share and interaction from you, as these connections help us continue bringing meaningful stories and messages to everyone. Let's spread positive values together and continue our journey to change the world. Thank you, and see you in the next stories.